Welcome to Costly Conversation. I think we're muted. Are we muted? Can you guys hear me? Gosh. Okay, I think you guys can hear me, so let's just roll with it. Welcome to Costly Conversations. My name is Aaron, and I'm excited because we have Alicia, aka the Boomstick Babe, with us today. And what can we say about Alicia? Well, let's start off with a question. The question being, is the Second Amendment in danger? Is there anything we can do about it? And with that anything, there's we always hear about like this long list, this long laundry list of things. Oh, we got to do this. I want to know if there's one actionable thing that gun owners, people who care about the Second Amendment, people who care about Second Amendment rights, I want to know if there's anything that we can do, one thing that we can do to really push our Second Amendment rights forward into a good direction. Because if you've been following, it's gone into a bad direction. And I think Alicia is the one to kind of let us know, being that she has done a little bit of work in the space. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm excited. Let's go. All right, let's get you right. I think everybody can hear you now. Alicia, welcome to the show.
Hi, it's Alicia. I'm gonna
Alicia, I'm
get you
sorry.
right now.
Right. I mean, you know what? It's funny. I actually had a conversation with Tony Simon about it, and then he was like, "Now don't
About
screw
my
up her
name.
name." About you, yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, definitely going to call her Alicia at least one time." And he's like, "And she'll correct you." Did not disappoint, guys. Please let us
I
know if
love
we
Tony.
sound
Shout out.
okay. Yeah. Shout out to Tony Timon, Tony Simon. The second is for everyone. 2A4E, pound for pound, largest gun bunny in America. Guys, let us know if we sound
And a great
okay. Yeah, great guy. And that said, Alicia, well, before we get started, I just did want to let everybody know if you were a member of our locals community. Unfortunately, local servers are down, so we won't be able to live stream there as well. We'll just have to do everything here. We'll spend the hour and a half here, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. So, Alicia, let's
yes.
talk about the Second Amendment.
I love it.
Yeah.
The end.
So with you, you've actually done some work locally in Colorado, advocating for 2A rights, for the right to self defense. What's that process been? What's that been like? Well, beyond even that, like what are some things that you guys are actually doing that make a difference?
So I really am glad, first of all, that you want to have this conversation because this is not the cool kid topic. Everybody wants to talk about the latest gun or the latest trend or the new video game and all the tactical stuff. And this is an area that I think doesn't get enough attention. So thank you for having that conversation. Um, Working in the litigation and advocacy space is daunting, and I think it keeps a lot of people from participating in that because it's something that a lot of people aren't educated on. And I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means, but I think that's a deterrent is that people feel like, oh, I don't know much about that, or it's going to be difficult, or it's going to cost too much time, all of these things. But nobody's really talking about the cost of not fighting. So for me, getting involved in this was about just taking the leap, educating myself and learning as you go. I mean, there's no way that you're going to be an expert on anything unless you give yourself the grace of sucking at something for a while and learning it. That comes to firearms training, to advocacy, all of this stuff. So for me, it's like, well, just because I don't know it doesn't mean I can't learn it. So what I did is I started researching all the stuff that was going on here in the state of Colorado. I found out how to testify and what my rights were as a citizen of my state, as a citizen of my country, and how to implement those things. So here in the state of Colorado, you can testify against bills in person over video, or you can write a written testimony that gets attached to the bill, which, I mean, it's logged in, but I don't recommend anybody write something, I recommend you actually testifying, because then the Senate and the House is going to hear your voice. They're going to look at you. They're going to know who you are. And I think that has a much heavier impact than just, writing something. But every effort counts.
Okay, so you're saying the main thing we can do, if I'm hearing you correctly, is to basically find an opportunity to go before your local body or even the federal bodies and give testimony.
Absolutely. And, advocacy starts with money. Let's be real here. There's a lot of companies out here that need your assistance, mainly Rocky Mountain Gun Owners. That is my association that I work with here very heavily. I highly love them and respect them. RockyMountainGunOwners.org. You can go to rmgo.org and you can donate there. You can donate directly to my lawsuit. If you go to my Instagram, you can go to my link tree in my bio. And I have links there to all the organizations I support. The money goes directly to the lawsuit. So right now, I am currently the plaintiff against the state of Colorado as a co-plaintiff with Rocky Mountain Gun Owners, and we are suing the state of Colorado for a 3-day waiting period that they implemented on October 1st to purchase a firearm here in the state. So I find that absolutely absurd and ridiculous. So I said, well, what am I going to do about it? Everybody wants to, you know, do one of these when it comes to who's responsible for your rights. At the end of the day, it's your civic duty to stand up and represent yourself. And I think people have a misconception of what the Second Amendment is. The Second Amendment is there telling you that it is your duty and responsibility to stand up against tyranny. And your tools that enable you the ability to do so are firearms. So why are you not also exercising, your duty to stand up against tyranny when that long arm of treachery comes reaching for you? And I think that's exactly what we do here in, my realm, and other people like Tony Simon, what they do, everything that you can get involved out against the Second Amendment isn't your shtick. But you know what? You can donate money. You can spend $10, $20, $30, $100, a couple $1,000 and donate to companies like Rocky Mountain Gun Owners, like Firearms Policy Coalition, and make sure that they have the resources that they need. You can support people like me. You can donate to me. You can donate to Tony Simon. Those are all forms of advocacy that I think gets overlooked as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree that we need to go through the trouble of finding $5, $10, $50. I mean, how crazy would it be if people like yourself, people like Tony, even some of the larger orgs who they also do need funds at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
But like, let's not forget that there are people like yourself going. How crazy would it be if you had 100 people who you knew were gonna chip in $10 a month for a year, just 1 year commitment?
That'd be wonderful.
Now, somebody in the comments said that my audio is kind of glitching out. I'm hearing maybe a little bit of echo. I don't know if it's coming back around through on your side. Are we on speaker? You got me on speaker?
I don't
No,
know.
I don't know. But guys, if you
I
guys
just
are
have the
noticing
camera on
some,
roll.
yeah, I don't know. Guys, if you guys are hearing messed up audio, just kind of let me know. I'll do what I can to try to adjust. So, but
That's fine
how
on my end.
beneficial would that be? The
It's tremendous. The need for funds, like right now, I think Rocky Mountain Gun Owners and the Second Amendment Foundation, I think they have like a $300,000 legal bill a month.
oh,
Exactly. So what's
is that
there's
even real
always what
money?
you pay. Yeah, but that's the thing is, what is it? What are you paying, and what does it cost? Because those aren't always linear. Do you see what I'm saying? What's $10 to you is maybe not getting you know crappy Starbucks for a day or two or something. And what that means, and the price of that is enabling freedom, getting your voices heard, getting your issues addressed, supporting legalities when it comes to your civil rights. And these are your civil rights. This isn't just, I say this all the time. I'm kind of known for it. Like, hey, we're not selling Coke and Pepsi here. We're selling dangerous freedom. So do you want to be a part of the change, or do you want to be a part of the problem, because there is no in between.
Yeah.
And I think that's a misconception. There's I had so yesterday I attended all day a training. It was more of like a classroom lesson for 8.5 hours about what it means to be in politics, in conservative politics. And unfortunately, this is conservative politics to a lot of people. Guns are usually associated with, you know, right wing politics. And I learned a lot. But one of the things that we discussed that I didn't pretty much agree with is that um, you're either where are you on the side when tyranny comes knocking? Where were you if you were in, Germany when the Nazis came a knocking? Were you complacent with them? Did you comply? Did you give them what they wanted? Did you, yes sir, yes ma'am? Did you revolt,
Just doing my job.
or did you sit at home and do nothing? And
Mm.
I think there's a misconception of what it means to sit at home and do nothing. Sitting at home and doing nothing is a choice to support the tyranny. It is. Unless you're on one side or the other, there is no such thing as the in between. There's either growth or decay in this world. If you're not doing one, you're absolutely doing the other.
That's right.
So, what choice are you making?
That's right. I think you're correct. So many of us, truthfully, whether it's like civil rights stuff or back when America was fighting Nazism across the globe, or and even some of the questions that came up in when America was fighting in Vietnam. There's a lot of questions about even the why we were there, and so many people were just
Money.
like toe the line, toe the line. Like
Hmm.
we're here, so it must be because we are doing the right thing, and that's not always true. In fact, most of the time, that's not true.
Um, People forget, and this is something I discuss in my classes. So, I'm also a firearms instructor. I'm also an RSO. I do teach private classes here in Colorado. I have tons of students that I teach every week. I also have a service that I'm just beginning to start called the Guncierge, that I'm helping fit firearms and kind of cultivate people's firearms experience for them to help them out. But one of the topics that I discuss in my class is that just because it's legal doesn't mean it's morally correct. And just because it's morally correct doesn't mean it's legal. And, when you're talking about, just following orders, that is a very, very slippery slope. I have a lot of law enforcement and military in my family. My grandfather, who I think is the most wonderful man that ever lived, was the fire chief of our entire town. My favorite uncle, who confirmed me in the Catholic Church, he's the retired sheriff of our, he's retired captain of our sheriff's department. I have tons of uncles and cousins that are police officers. My nephew is in the Navy. My grandfather was in the Navy. My uncles are in the Navy. I have a lot of experience dealing with this. And one of the issues that I see is that, one, if you're going to back the blue, how much of the blue are you going to back? Because responders to enforce these laws, let's call it what it is. And my question to them and their families is, when do you uphold your duty to the Constitution? You swore a duty to be a peacekeeper and be a representative of the people, not the long arm of tyranny. And I think it becomes them standing up for tyranny and being like, hey, I'm just doing my job. What you're doing is enforcing illegal laws. And are you going to open fire? Are you going to arrest? Are you going to incriminate your fellow man just because you were told to? Like, those are the issues that I have. And, I think our whole law enforcement system that we have is trash. I mean, might as well be honest. First of all, these guys aren't paid enough money, and their families aren't secure enough in that pay, and making sure that if their father or their husband or their brother never comes home, that they are going to be duly compensated. And I don't mean just financially. I'm talking about that they have a mental health stipend. These firearms officers, or policemen, whatever, they need mental health. They need extensive resources for that mental health. They need extensive training. They need to be held more accountable for training with firearms and understanding how to de-escalate, how to use verbal judo, how to deal with the common man. Because I think when police officers are walking into a situation, their mentality is completely opposite of what we as a civilian would be in the mindset of. We are going to be reactionary. They are pro reaction. They're being proactive when they're walking to a situation. Like, okay, they're already assuming violence is present. They're already ready to go. If violence is something that we're going to encounter, even with law enforcement, we are going to be reacting, right? A threat has to happen first for us to, oh crap, and then grab our gun and respond to that stimulus, right? So our dynamics are completely different. And I think a lot of people also forget that you have a right to self-defense even against the law. And
Ooh.
people find me very controversial for that. But I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen a lot of people die from no-knock warrants that were served erroneously.
I don't think most people are comfortable with that conversation or ready to understand the implications. And there are people who have gotten themselves into situations where it's played out in their favor and they were justified or exonerated in court as justified deadly force usage. And there are people who have not. So I tell you what, I want when I think you're onto something, but it's such a
Troublemaker.
hard conversation to have. You definitely are a troublemaker. You're about to get me in trouble. The FBI's about to, send a ping to my phone, say my phone's about to light up and be like,
Get rid of
FBI
that
wants to
girl.
know your location. You know,
Get rid of
right? Hey. Well, just want to say hello to everybody in the chat. I see there's a couple of you guys going back and forth, and I definitely appreciate you guys being here for this conversation. Hey, I actually just got a message in from somebody you know, and they want to
Uh-oh.
ask you a question. You mind if we go ahead and play that?
Sure,
Let me
who is
just
it?
pull that up. Well, I'm going to surprise you. How about that?
Oh, no. I hate
Yeah.
surprises, just so
Oh my
you know.
gosh. No, I think it's a good surprise. You'll be all right.
Okay.
It's a good surprise.
Okay.
Gosh, if I could pull it up. I'll tell you what. Let's go on to the next topic, and by the time we get done, I'll have it all ready for you, and I'll just have you look it
Oh,
up.
why
Oh
you
my
gotta
god.
play with my emotions like that, man?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why
Like,
don't I'll tell you what? Let me do this. I'm gonna restart this audio deck because I'm hearing myself feedback looping in here, and by the time I get this thing pulled up, we'll have it going. I apologize to the
okay.
podcast listeners. One moment, guys.
Is it my audio?
All right, can you hear me?
Sure.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3. Yeah, I'm still hearing that little feedback, but I guess we'll have to endure it. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this right now. If it'll drag the freak over. Come on. There we go.
This is Tony Simon from the Second is for Everyone Diversity Shoot and the Second is for Everyone podcast. I would have one question, well, actually a two-parter. One, what is it like having your name on a lawsuit that will be history making? I think it's awesome, and I want to hear like the feeling you got when you knew it was happening. And my second question, or a second part of my question is, who's your favorite gun bunny and why is it Tony Simon? Have a great show, guys.
I love Tony.
I told you it wasn't gonna be bad. Come
Right
on.
here for you.
Have some faith in me. Yeah. Tony's that guy. Definitely love Tony. Let's hit him with the
He's a
hearts.
wonderful being.
Yeah. He's
He's a
awesome.
very, very wonderful human being. So to answer his question, of course you're my favorite Tony Simon. I love you, Tony. I can't wait to see you. I hope I get to see you at SHOT Show, Tony, so I could put a big hug on you. The lawsuit. I mean, I'm not. I think I'm kind of known already for brutal honesty, and that's what I'm going to give you. yeah, it's cool to have your name on a lawsuit that is going to be history. I mean, me and the Rocky Mountain gun owners and my legal team at Mountain States Legal, they are very much on the same page that I am. Like, I will fight to the death. I'm one of those people that's like, I don't back down to anybody. I don't care who it is. That's always been my spirit. I've always had a fiery, phoenixy, nature about me. So that's exactly how this is going to go down. If we got to get to Supreme Court, we're going to go to the Supreme Court. We're going to keep pushing as far and as wide as we need to until we succinct what we need to succinct. However, this is not something that I take very lightly. I had to really sit down and think about this. I mean, when the opportunity came up, there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to do it. I was like, "Yep, sign me up, put my name on that paperwork. Let's do this." But it's kind of terrifying in a little bit of a way. It's exciting, yay, great, I know that, but it's terrifying because I'm basically putting a spotlight on myself to be attacked. Um, People now know for the rest of my life that I am a rebel, firearms, gun toting, loudmouth, hippie troublemaker. And that's how the government views me. And it's kind of putting a target on your back, but I mean, bring it. I don't know what else to say because honestly, I'm just tired of people not doing anything. I'm tired of the apathy that is plaguing the Second Amendment industry, and I'm tired of the cool kid shtick, and I'm tired of it being influencer over advocate. And yeah, it's cool to be popular on the internet and all that jazz, and hang out with the cool kids and do cool stuff. I love to shoot guns. I love to shoot full auto. I love range days. I love all that stuff, but what are we going to do when all that stuff is highly regulated and you can't train? I mean, look how long it was for California to even be able to buy ammunition to train with. I mean, it's become a circus. And to me, it's like, well, the only way that I'm going to be able to look at myself in the mirror and respect myself is if I do what I know needs to be done and make this happen. So that's how it feels. It's a little terrifying because, I mean, you never know how far they're going to go to discredit you in the press, or if they're going to be contacting your family. I've been reached out from different avenues of the media here, different news channels and stuff that want to interview me for this, and I've turned them all down. And people are like, "Why are you doing that? Why aren't you talking to the news?" It's because I know that they're going to, screw and chop my interview
Hmm.
and only show their narrative, because I've seen it happen many times. My good friend, who I absolutely love and respect, Devin, Trenchwork Chronicles and Kids to Kings, he's here in Colorado with me right now doing some amazing work. And he was just interviewed by the news. He calls me, he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be on, news station X." So I was like, hell yeah. I plopped myself in front of the couch and queued it up, got my phone out to record it because I'm like, the cheerleader mom.
Hmm.
And everything that he said, they showed 4 seconds of it. And then all the other gun owners that they interviewed at the show, they showed
This is Tony
just
Simon
a
from
minute of
Seconds for Everyone Diversity Shoot.
And sorry about that.
it.
But isn't that what
And
they
then
do?
that's exactly what they do. And then they show Senator Sullivan, who is backing the bill that I'm suing against. They let him talk for 3-4 minutes
Mhm.
about how this law is essential to keep people alive, and how gun owners are a threat to themselves and the society, because that's why they need a 3-day waiting period, is because they have mental health issues and they could possibly be contemplating killing themselves or killing somebody else. That is a huge insult
That is
to us
massive.
as gun.
And it makes no sense. I mean, here's the thing. If you could back that up with data that says, hey, 1 out of every 5 gun purchases is leading to some sort of violent incident, you might have a leg to stand on per se. But the numbers don't support that in the slightest. I mean, I just bought 2 guns a little while ago. Both of
Which
them are
ones?
just hanging out. It was two Glocks. It was the Glock 45 and the Glock 43X. For those
Okay,
who,
I have the 43X.
yeah,
I have a
and
whole bunch of hookups, whole bunch of affiliates. If you want to trick that sucker out, you let me know.
I definitely would be interested. Now that said, it's Strap House Customs. Shout out to them in the chat, and for the support that they've
Is that
given the show.
fridge?
Yes, oh Fridge,
Up,
you know
homie.
Fridge.
Yeah, no fridge.
That's what's up. What's up, Fridge? So
I
they're
can't see the
saying it
chat,
happens all the time.
so
Oh, you can't. That's crazy. They said they chop and screw the interviews. Yes, they
yeah.
absolutely do. I had a guy who did an interview down in Florida. He was a lot of firearms instructors are weird about constitutional carry because a lot of them make a lot of their money on license to carry courses, and there's some concerns where if they're not, it could mess with their revenue and mess with the bag. And I
I'd like to
understand.
talk about that topic.
Well, let's definitely dive into it in un momento. 1 second. So, and he did an interview, and the way it was posted and the way it looked is just he's like some anti-gun guy, even though he said a lot, and they only posted 3 seconds where he was not in stronger support of our rights to carry with or without a license, and made him look bad. That said,
Yep.
it's just is what it is. You can always what did Maj say? Media is most effective devil in America.
I have that shirt. Shout out to
Yeah.
Mosh Teray.
Shout out to Maj and the solid work that he's done trying to change the narrative. I know a lot of people have an issue with him. That's too bad. Look at the good work he's done, and cheer him on when he does good work. If there's something you don't like, tell him. I don't know if he'll listen.
I've met Mosh a handful of times. His crew is my crew.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah. You guys
we
have a
all,
lot of mutual friends.
and they're not just mutual friends. Like my closest friends.
Right,
Like Devin and Jelani and Ken and KD,
Katie.
and those are that's my right here.
Yeah,
You know, so and it's like, well, I've met Maj a whole bunch of times, and I've been around Maj where there's no cameras, there's no media, it's not at
yeah,
events, and Maj is a very nice man,
yeah,
and he has always been a very stand-up, respectable person to me. He supports a lot of my friends, and so he's guilty by association to me. Like he's people to me,
yeah.
so I'm gonna make sure that I'm like, if you're gonna talk trash about Maj, just don't do it around me.
Right.
Because okay, now I know that I can't kick it with you. Because if you think Maj is controversial, you don't have a clue who I
Right. No, but
am.
here's the interesting thing. He was on the show a little while ago, and everything that he said, I was just like, yeah, makes sense. I
Mhm.
understand that, he's got the that Philly tone, so a lot of
Yeah,
things that he says can kind of come off as aggressive, even though he's just
it's
being
kind of
really
like St. Louis
passionate.
too. Yeah,
Right. Like
it's
you
like
you kind of have to
you don't
know
have
where a
ever
person's
been to
from.
Philly or St. Louis. You don't understand why they're like that, and then once you go, you're like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
oh, I get it. It's a vibe. Yeah, it's
Right.
very straight to the point. You know what I mean? Like there's no frills, no thrills, no no miss 6 o'clock. It's just straight to the point.
Extremely. And a lot of people can't handle that. They need you to kind of baby them a little bit, like crack out the massage oil and work 'em, break them down before you can actually say a word to them. And I'm not saying that every little thing that we've all said or done is right in the end, but I like to look at a person's track record and the good that they've done, and I like to try to support what the good people do. Even if they make a mistake or do something that I would be like, I don't think that's a hill to die on, but you know, we've all done weird stuff. That said, um, overall, I support what Mosh
Important.
does, and I think it's important that when we're raising money and doing things like that, look at the work that he's doing. Obviously, look at the work that you're doing. 2A4E. There's like 20 or 40 other people that are like you guys, small grassroots, but have I don't know how small Maj is with Black. Was it Black Guns Matter? How am I forgetting the name?
Yeah.
Anyways, I want to crack into the subject that we kind of avoided for just a second, which was constitutional carry. That's a big deal when it comes to Second Amendment conversations. Some people have said to me, people who are Second Amendment ish, that if you are not allowed to open carry, or if you're restricted in your right to carry maybe long guns in public, that's not a violation of your Second Amendment. It's an inconvenience because maybe you'd like to do it one way or another. It's not like you can't buy guns or own a gun in your home or whatever. Others believe that you should be able to ride around in an Abrams tank with no restriction. I like that idea. I have no problem with that. As long as you're not aiming it at me, you're like, I'm good. Somebody's going to clip this one day and be like, I heard you believe that American citizens should have tanks. And then I would say, you
Yes.
can have a tank. You
Yes.
can have a tank. You just have
And
to go
here's
through all the
why.
paperwork.
If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me because they're okay with it. I say this all the time. Your government is not anti-gun.
Hmm.
They love guns. They have guns and heavy duty equipment that they hide behind on a daily. On a daily. They protect their homes, they protect their kids, they protect their family members, they protect their money and themselves
Mm.
with guns. They
Not the
just don't
money.
want you to have them.
Not the
So my
money.
question to people that don't feel that we should have those types of guns is, why do you feel that their lives are more valuable than mine or our children or my families? That's what I want to know. Like, why are you overlooking the fact that my life is just as valuable as theirs? My life is definitely worth protecting. And when it comes to constitutional carry, I mean, I'm all about it. I honestly, I would love it if I could go everywhere with just a leg rig everywhere with my gat strapped to my leg. I'd be very happy with that everywhere I went. But I want people to understand that that is a mindset that we are going to have to cultivate. And that is a skill set that we as a community have to cultivate as well. Because I see a lot of people on the internet promoting carrying openly, especially like in more southern states, men and women alike. This is not just, the gun bunny. The gun bunny is a genderless thing. Okay. The gun bunny is non-binary. So we are seeing people on the internet like, hey, let me teach you how to use a gun. What's your certification? What is your skill set in order to do that? If you're going to be telling people to open carry, you can't just have a regular old, outside the waistband holster. That's not succinct enough. You need to have a level 2 or better holster that you cannot be disarmed walking around with the gun, because I think society, I'm not going to say society's not ready for that. Absolutely. I think that society is never ready for anything. I think
Hmm.
that's the whole point of growth, is you can't prepare for the unpreparable. You just have to do.
Yeah.
You just have to do. So if you're going to be, advocating for constitutional carry, then lead by example and do it properly. Get yourself a level 2 better holster. Make sure that you're showing people how to train, showing people how to be in the correct mindset and the constraints that you're going to experience and the resistance you're going to get from people. And you're going to have a higher level of conduct in the way you're behaving with that gun in front of people, because now you're representing an entire community of people. So
Yeah.
step it up.
Yeah. So what I heard you say is constitutional carry, open carry, maybe has a few things that you should consider
Yeah.
before you. But I didn't hear you say that you're against it.
I'm not against anything when it comes to being free with guns.
Okay.
I'm straight up revolutionary gangster when it comes to that stuff. Like, if I could go someplace with a straight up SBR with a suppressed right here everywhere I go, I'd be like, oh, yeah, let me get some of that chicken.
Hmm.
Like, I have no problem with that. I want to normalize gun culture. And I think the only way that we're going to do it is if people start actually representing the fact that they are gun people and they have guns. And it's like, yeah, I'm a gun person. Yep, I carry guns. Yes, I
Hmm.
like guns. Yes, I shoot guns. And what?
Right.
And what? If we're not, how are we going to normalize it if people are still treating it as if it's a taboo topic? You're advocating for keeping it taboo by perpetuating that narrative.
It's so interesting because I think like gun imagery. is so embedded in culture that I can literally wear this hat from my guy Glock Bay with a little 8-bit guy with a gun. Let me get a little closer.
I see.
See it.
See.
Yeah, like I can wear this hat, and people I wear it at church, right? And people are like, nice hat, and it's imagery. Now, do they know that I'm carrying a gun in appendix or on my hip or whatever? Maybe, maybe
Maybe.
not. It doesn't. I mean, I like to concealed is concealed, but I'm not going to lose my mind if somebody sees me printing. That said, that said, do people really understand like the reality of guns? I've met so many people who find out what I do, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that's interesting. I've never been shooting. Can you take me shooting?" And then they kind of chicken out at the last minute, and it's annoying. But it's like, how many people in the world have never shot a gun before, like ever?
Let me answer that for you. All the people that are anti-gun,
Right?
and like there is an abundance of people that are considering themselves gun experts, that are speaking about guns, that are making laws about guns, that have never shot a gun.
Hmm.
They have never experienced it. And yet they are being treated as the end all be all to decide what guns are to you.
Hmm.
That's terrifying. That's terrifying to me. So that's why we have to, as a community, get loud, get involved, get these politicians afraid of you. And I want to be very, very serious when you hear me say this. Politics is not to be nice. You're not supposed to be out here patting these politicians on the back, telling them, yeah, you did a good job. No, you're supposed to be doing your job. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're doing a good job. You know what? You're only going to hear from me is when you're not doing your job. So if
Mm.
you want me to be quiet and you want me to chill, then you better do everything that you're supposed to do, because you work for me. And if politicians aren't afraid of you, they don't respect you. That's exactly what's going on right now in the societies that we live in. Is none of these politicians respect you. They don't fear their people. They do whatever they want to do. And that's exactly how we've gotten to this position that we're in right now. Oh my God, I'm watching my dog just roll around all cute on the floor, and it's so distracting because he's the most perfect thing I've ever seen
Hey, well,
in
at
my
least you
life.
don't have a
So
second camera, right? Because then we'd have to pause the show, and the audio listeners would be like, "What's happening?"
it's
You're,
fluffy bunny time.
yeah,
But you
that's
see what I'm
awesome.
saying? Like, people, like, when it comes to open carry, when it comes to gun culture, the only way we're going to normalize gun culture is if you come out of the closet and you say, hey, guess what? I'm a gun owner. That's why I love to wear shirts with guns on it. That's why I love to be very, very vocal about guns. Like, people are like, oh, oh, what's all that? That's a gun. Yeah,
Hmm.
guns. What do you do for a living? Yeah, shoot guns. What do you do? Oh, I train people on firearms. Oh my God. And maybe they don't like it, but I'm not here to be nice. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to make people feel, the pressure of the importance. You don't have to like me, but you're going to respect me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing I do want to commend you. I know normally when you get real passionate, we got a few bombs dropping. I don't think I've heard you cuss one time. You like hold them
I'm
back up?
really doing a good job of not saying bad words.
Wow.
I'm
Listen,
really doing a good job
like
over
you're
here.
doing fantastic. Like I think I told you this before. I don't try to censor my guests, but in like the first 10 minutes. So if something slips, don't freak out, please. Some people are like, "Oh my gosh, can I say that?" I'm like, "Oh my god, no. You're an adult. Just
Listen, folks, I don't have kids. And I come from a very, very candid family. Like, there's no holes barred in my family.
mm-hmm.
My mother is a child of 9. My father is a
Oh my
child of
gosh,
9. We're Chicano. We are
same.
very Chicano. We don't have boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have boundaries in this family. So we cuss, we say very taboo things. We talk about sex. We hug, we hold, we sleep in bed together. We kiss on the mouth. We are very, very close as a family. So we do all kinds of things in my crew that I think a lot of people would find a little bit uncomfortable. So if I cuss, I don't even realize I'm cussing sometimes, because people are like, "Oh, would you say that around your mom?" Yes, I would.
Oh
Like,
my
I'd say
gosh,
that around my family.
my oh, well, my 10th grade history teacher. Oh my gosh, Miss Garcia. She was from Puerto
Hey,
Rico, but I think she lived in Boston for a long time. And she would get on Stefan so much because he had a mouth on him, right? And she'd be like, Stefan, it's like it comes out, it just flies out of your mouth like poetry. It's like, come on, like chill, Miss Garcia. Yo, my
so
gosh.
I'm a gangster broad at heart,
Yeah.
for real. Like I'm like I look square a lot of times. People are like, "Oh, she's so nice. Oh, she's so polite," and I
They
am.
never met you.
I'm very polite. I'm so sweet, right? I love
Yeah.
like I'm a very very loving person,
Oh, you're very
but
loving, very kind, fiercely loyal. Like,
but I am very loyal. But when it comes to if I'm gonna be about it, oh, I'm gonna be about it. Like I grew up
yeah.
in the west side of Denver. I was riding public transportation in third grade, second grade, first grade, you know? So it was like you had to be tough and you had to be strong. And I'm this big. You know, I'm 4'11. I'm built like a, brick house and I
I love how you
get a
said
lot of
that.
and people need to know like stay in your lane, bro. Like you're not gonna talk to me like that. You're not gonna push me around. And sometimes verbal judo means having to be a little bit of a bitch, a little bit of a bitch sometimes. But I'd rather be
I can understand
a
that.
victim.
So
You know what I
I
mean?
have a question. The other day, and this is almost off topic, but it has to do with your stature. For me, I'm 5'11", 6 with, heels on, that kind of thing. Um, Pretty decent frame if you guys can see, built
Thank you.
semi-athletic, like I used to be athletic. I'm not talking about you, Alicia. You're not gonna get me in trouble. And so my my question is, like, the other day I was at a restaurant or I was in a drive-through and somebody approached my car and I see him walking towards me. My doors are locked, but my window's down, and I feel like freaking him out by like rolling my window up last minute. Like that's kind of rude. But he
Oh,
walked up to me. Yeah, some people wouldn't hesitate, right? Like yourself. Um, and that's fine. So he walked up to me and he starts addressing me and I put my hand, I'd be like, hold on, man. And I just told him basically to stop, without saying like, stop right now. Like I just said, hey, hold on, man. What's up? What you need? And, he just said, hey man, I just need a couple bucks. I want to go buy another beer. And I was like, oh, and I like glanced down and I looked back up and he's like trying to maybe walk. I put my hand back up. I was like, hey, hold on, man. Like, I'm not trying to get into it and end up in the papers. You know what I mean? Like off of somebody just trying to get a few bucks and not understanding my boundaries. How do you, as a shorter woman, as a woman in general, because I don't know if this is a surprise to people, but men don't respect women as much as they respect men who can enforce their will. You know what I mean? Um, there's just something in the minds of men that we just don't see each other the same. How do you, as a 4'11" female, how do you get along? How do you encounter people like when someone's getting aggressive in public or when you feel like, oh, is this person like following me? Like how do you function?
people follow me all the time.
Like what do you say? What do you do?
Um, I look them in the face and I'm like, "Can I help you? What do you want? Like, I see you, bro. Like, you're not stealthy, bro. Like, I call people out. I have no problem calling people out. And I've looked this way a long time. I've been me most
Hmm.
of my life. And I think people forget what it's like to be a girl that has the body of a woman. You are forced to grow up very quickly. I'm 13, 14 years old. I have these, big old boobs and my hips are widening. I'm starting to get the body of a woman, but I'm a nerd. I at 13 years old, 14 years old, I never even kissed a boy. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't that chick. I hung out with my grandma and my grandpa and my uncle and my brother, and I love to hang out with the boys. I've been a tomboy my whole life. So when your body starts to change and you start to get attention as a woman, you don't want that. I'm still very much in the mindset of a girl. And yet you have grown men, especially I'm trying to take the bus home from school that want to pick you up. They want to get you in their car. They're whistling at you. They're hollering at you. They try to touch you. They try to close space between you. I mean, men can be very aggressive. And I mean, I don't think that there's any nice way to be nice about keep your hands to yourself, bro. You know what I mean? And you just have to have thick skin, and you have to use your voice. You can't be timid. And if you, nobody out there has ever met me before, if you haven't met me in person, I'm a tiny little lady, but my personality is 8 feet tall. I have a lot of personality. And it's very important that you have presence and you have situational awareness and you give nonverbal cues to people to let you know, to let everybody know, like, I'm not the one. You know what I mean? Like, this rose has thorns. So if you're going to try to come over here, it better be nice. You better be nice, and you better talk to me nicely. And I have to uphold myself that way. And it's, you know, it's how you carry yourself. You know, walk in the place with your head held high. Know that you own that room. Know that you're running that room, and know that you have the ability to use your voice and use whatever tools that you have. Because I'm booby trapped head to toe, usually everywhere that I go. And make sure that people know, like, hey, you're going to treat me with respect. And I think it has to be also with, you can be nice. I don't always have to be a bitch to, you know, command respect, but I'm going to look at you and I'm going to make eye contact to you. And, you know, I have a nice booty. I have a nice body. I get a lot of men following me. It's creepy. And I get a lot of women following me too. The crappy part about women is they can go into the bathrooms where you're going. They can go places that men can't go. And women get kind of handsy, and women get just as aggressive as men do. So for me, it's just making sure that I acknowledge you and let you know that, hey, I see you. I actually had this issue the other night. I went out, and I like to go out. You know, I don't have kids. I don't have the restrictions of being not free and traveling and doing the things that I want to do. So, you know, I got dressed up. You know, I went out for some entertainment, for some nightlife. I was in a lounge. I decided to leave. When I left, I noticed, because, you know, I'm situationally aware, I'm keeping tabs on what's going on. I noticed the guy that was also in the bar with me leave when I leave. And I started walking down the street, and it's normal habit to me when I walk down the street, I do a full circle. You know, I'll turn around and I'll look, you know, to see who's behind me, where I'm going. I make sure everybody knows that I know that they're there. And I position myself, you know, pretty decently on the street, whether it's away from traffic and away from buildings as well. I don't want to give people an opportunity to corner me in anywhere. And you can also always use the reflections of the windows and stuff that you're walking past to kind of look into them and see what's around you. You know, utilize your space. And I noticed that he was walking behind me, and he's kind of walking at a heavier pace. You can tell he's like kind of wanting to catch up to me. And so I turned around and I looked at him again. And usually when a guy is interested in you, and he wants to talk to you, he's going to let you know that he's interested. He's going to make eye contact. He's going to say hello. He's going to say, hey, you know, how's it going, or whatever. This guy didn't do that. But I'm like, why is this guy so eager to be close to me? You know, so I just took an opportunity. There was another lounge there. I walked straight up to the security. I gave him my ID, and I told security, hey, I think this guy might be following me. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to post up for a while, if that's okay. And 9 times out of 10, security is going to be like, absolutely, you know, come on in. You know, I ended up knowing the security that was inside because they're fellow friends that are also in the firearms community that I've trained with before. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? You know, nice to see you guys. You know, I told them, hey, I think this guy's following me. He also came into the lounge. He sat down. And this is the thing. He had every opportunity, if he was interested in me, like, hey, I want to get to know you. Hey, I want to buy you a drink. I want to ask you your name, to do that in the bar that I was just in the place that I'm in now. So I sat there, had my lemon water with friends. I asked security to walk me to my car. And sure enough, when security walked me to my car, that guy left also, but he went the other way. So was he planning on doing something sketchy? Maybe, maybe not. But you have to be wise enough to know your surroundings, know what you're capable of, and know what you're not capable of. Because I don't know if this guy is working in a team. Maybe there's somebody there that I don't know, that he got on his cell phone or text and said, hey, you know, there's this chick. Maybe there was a car waiting for me at the end of that block that they were going to wrangle me into. I don't know. So you have to be smart enough and have these conversations. Like I talked to my goddaughter. My goddaughter looks just like me. She's absolutely stunning and gorgeous, and she's 20 years old. And I would go to the depths of heaven and hell for her. I give her as much knowledge as I possibly can because I can't be with her all the time. But we have to, as a community as well, educate women on how to conduct themselves and to
Mm.
make sure that you're your own first responder and you're aware of your surroundings. Because men follow me all the time because they just want to stare at my booty. Let's be real. Is every single one of them a threat? Maybe, maybe not. But I don't know the difference. So
Yeah.
I have to be wise enough to be like, hey, can I help you, bro? Where you going? Can I help you? What's up? And just call them out. And it's okay to be a little bit controversial sometimes. You don't always have to take what people give you. And that's what we do as society, right? You tell
Mm.
girls to dumb it down. Like, women are cultured differently. You're told to be nice. And we need to start telling women to set boundaries instead of being nice.
Mm.
Imagine
Yeah, I
how
think
different our world would be if we taught little girls, you don't have to be nice to make people that make you uncomfortable.
yeah, I think that's, as a father of daughters, I think that's an important conversation to have. Um, just the reality of the situation is there's a lot of people out there who don't have good intentions. I know there's been a lot of debate, men versus women. Oh, these men are aggressive. They're this, they're that. They're not. They're masculine. They're not kind. They're not sweet. They're not willing to cook. They're not. All these different things, and some of them I think are based in some truth, and some are just gross exaggerations or misrepresentations of how people are in real life. um, and I think we're addicted to seeing like just the chaos. So we're like, hey, fringe person who's clearly should be in a loony bin, what do you think about men? And then and then they say something like, you got to have $10,000 to take me on a date. Like, I need it in my hands. Cash at me 10,000, and it's something stupid like that.
You gotta have
But
SOTs to take me on a date. Just say.
you got to have what? SOT. Oh my gosh. You got to be a machine gun dealer. Golly. Well, hey, you know what? There's going to be very few men on that list, but they're all awesome.
I'm gonna tell you right now, there's not very many women out there like me.
Yeah.
So that bar is set extremely high. I've been very, very well loved most of my life
Yeah.
by seeing extremely excellent men. And I don't mean just by the men that I've dated and that I've been in relationships with, by my father, by my stepdad, by my uncles, my brother. The men in my life are of the highest caliber.
That's awesome.
I mean, look who I hang out with.
Right. It's a kind of an elite list of awesome dudes. Now we have a
Hmm.
few questions coming in, but let me finish my thought and then we'll pivot to some of these questions that are coming in. There's like one or two that I think are pretty good. But I think, like you said, we do need to make sure that young ladies, women, even our elders feel comfortable asserting themselves, not being like just a mean person, because that's not gonna, you're gonna win. You're gonna catch more flies with honey if you're looking for friendships and encounters that are positive. But when you're dealing with, like you said, individuals who either at at the very best are just super awkward and they need to be told no, or at the worst case scenario, are predators who are looking to, um, how do you say, violate
Harm.
everything. Yeah, harm, violate, or whatever it is, commit unlawful acts against a person, um, violate your space, or whatever it is. And we need to make sure that young ladies, women, girls, even our elders, because there's been a few who have been harmed. Elder abuse is a thing.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
we need to make sure they feel very good and comfortable about speaking up, saying what they need to say, because there's a lot of girls who they go years and years and years, and before they say something, it's like, well, what happened? And truthfully, maybe some don't have the best intentions, but many people, I can tell you for a fact, had some sort of didn't feel comfortable, had some sort of internalized pain or fear because of how we've kind of built this thing out.
I mean,
So,
I could go very deep into that rabbit hole because I deal with this on a daily basis.
hmm,
Like literally on a daily basis. I'm an attractive woman. I get a lot of attention and I don't mean to, but like I said, I have a lot of energy. I have a boisterous personality and I have a very, you know, unique look to me, to say the least. And I'm used to getting a lot of attention and it gets old. It gets old being sexualized. It gets old being treated as just a woman. And, it's about making sure all young women and ladies and all people know that it's okay to be feminine. It's okay to be beautiful. It's okay to dress how you want to dress. Just have respect for yourself and have some integrity with how you conduct yourself. Like, you can be sexy and you can be confident, and that doesn't mean you're giving it all away. You know what I mean? Like, you could still, I could go out right now in a turtleneck and in sweats, no makeup on, and I'm still going to be sexualized because that's the nature of the beast. We
Mm.
can't always control other people, but we can control how we assert ourselves. And being assertive isn't always being aggressive. You know what I mean? And society has lost track of the difference between being assertive and aggressive.
Mm.
In most professional settings, when it comes to being a woman, either you're a ball buster or you're a pushover. You can't
Mm.
be both. You know what I mean? When you start asserting yourself and you start using your voice, all of a sudden, oh, she's a ball buster. Oh, she's the. But if a man does the same thing, oh, he's a boss. He's handling business. He's straight to the point with it. Yeah, it earns respect. So you got to push through it, and you have to have those conversations, especially men. Like, I'm the way that I am because I was raised by quality men who taught me, hey, you know what, baby, this is how it's okay, you know, to use your voice. It's okay to stand up for yourself, but you also have to be prepared to be resisted.
Hmm.
And you always have to have those backup plans and that mindset too.
Oh man, there's this great question that came in, and I wonder if you have a good answer for it. So we'll I'll respond to what you just said, and then we'll start answering these questions. And I keep saying we're going to answer the questions. We're going to answer the questions. Haven't done it yet. Um, I think you've got a major point, and I don't want. I hope somebody doesn't tune in like right now and not hear the lead up, the build up, the context of what we're saying, where you literally just said like, hey, be feminine, be kind, be all the good things, but also don't let people take advantage of you and harm you and hurt you. Like,
Mhm.
I think this is a message that everyone can get behind, but somebody's going to clip this, or I mean, maybe it's a good thing, so we can gain some momentum and more people will tap in and actually hear what you're trying to say. You know, but somebody can easily be tuned out and then tune in and say like, what they're why are you caping for I don't know. People get so weird about like
I don't
understanding the
care.
truth about like, hey, it is different being a girl, like, or a woman, or a lady, whatever you want to call yourself. Like, it's
Yeah, it is.
different. And if you don't understand that, you're missing like a bit, like basically half of how the world works, you know? So
Mhm.
let's
I
jump
love
into
being
some
a
of these
woman. I love
questions.
my femininity. And I want to be quite clear here. The greatest feminist on the planet is the masculine man because
Mm.
he understands the value and the preciousness and the energy of the woman. And he does everything in his power to provide for her, to protect her, and to be her safe space to exist. So when you hear, I say this often, there is no such thing as toxic masculinity. The only thing about masculinity that's toxic is the absence of it. We need quality men, and it's okay to be feminine. And a lot of these women right now are so into their masculine that they're forgetting what makes them special. They're forgetting that their femininity is one of the greatest tools that they have. Feminine goddess energy is either the most warm, welcoming, nurturing creator. Women literally are walking around with the power of creation within themselves, which is such a beautiful thing. But Mother Nature is also goddess energy, which is also the most destructive and powerful force on this earth. So stop trying to be in competition with these men and start remembering what your power is and what makes you unique and special and be able to, stand in that unapologetically.
That's that's a powerful message. I hope that people get that, and I really appreciate you kind of bringing it back together and letting people know like, hey, like we need to support each other.
Mhm.
Um, to be a
It's
woman
a
is to be special and to be unique. And you don't want to be a man. And men, I don't think we should want to be women. Somebody's going to hear this and try to bring the other
who
conversation into
cares?
this. Not too worried about that right now. but I do want to. Tony Simon actually hopped in here for a second, and he dropped a question. Are you ready for it? Another question from Tony Simon. He said, "What's your
Is this the
EDC?"
Tony Simon show?
The Tony Simon Show. Da-da-da. Tony Simon Show. What's your EDC?
Me?
Mhm. From
Staccato,
Tony Simon. The
staccato
what?
CS, baby. Come on
The
now.
Staccato CS. Okay. Rich.
Come on.
Rich. Oh my gosh. Look at you running around with a $2,500 handgun.
4,000 because it's got the flat trigger, it's got the Hollow Sun APS on it, and it's got the TLR7 sub on it. So, no, just
It's an investment. It sure is. Hey, listen. Truth is, you can carry $100,000 handgun, and as long as you're comfortable with it, as long as you can shoot it well, and you're not afraid to lose it, should it be confiscated after a self-defense incident, deadly force incident, you're good. As long as you're not
I'm going to tell
concerned
you
about
right
those
now,
things.
Staccato is very, very good to me.
Hmm.
They have treated me just wow. I mean, shout out to Staccato, Nate over at Staccato, Tony at Staccato, everybody at Staccato. They have been so warm and welcoming to me. And I'm pretty sure that if something were to happen and I'd have to use my Staccato in a self-defense situation, I don't think that they would be, too stingy with me.
That's good to know, and I'm glad to hear that they that relationship is solid and strong. And I know here's the thing people should know about you is you don't mention brands, you don't even think about brands, you don't say their names out loud until you've tested something and really
Oh, yeah.
put it to good use. So the fact that you're bringing them up, I don't think it's like a just to bring them up. I think it's because you really believe in that product, especially since you carry it.
The three guns that I carry the most, my Staccato CS, it is the biggest gun that I carry. So I'm very inclined to want to carry that gun because it's just I train with it all the time. It's extremely well performing firearm and it
Hmm.
feels so good to shoot. And I'm so in tune with it. My second gun that I carry the most is going to be my SIG P365 XL with the Icarus mod on it though. Like the regular 365 XL to me, the polymer frame is just garbage. So I have the Icarus Precision Ace on it. If you guys are curious about what that is, feel free to go to my Instagram. I have a video of me talking about it on there, and it has a wicked paint job on it as well. It's got like a rose gold and burgundy and stuff digital camo by Gun Cuts that they did for me. And
The
then my
Icarus, is
second
that
gun,
aluminum or is that also
it is
polymer?
aluminum frame.
Yeah, that's what I
Is
thought.
an aluminum frame. And then my third favorite gun that I carry is my Glock 42, my little 380 Glock, and I always carry Defiant Munitions copper 380 rounds in there. So if anybody wants to try to come for me like, oh, it's not a defensive enough round, let me shoot you with it then.
Yeah, 380 can put you in the ground. I don't care what anybody says. There are people who have been their off switch has been hit with the 22. Stop playing with these people. Just
Yeah.
don't run into a gun. Like that's a bad it's a
And I
bad
can hit
idea.
my target. So
That's the most important thing. So we had a question come in. How do you feel about red flag laws? How might we try to include um, the best intentions of them?
there is no best intentions of red flag laws. And if you feel that there are good intentions for red flag laws, you need to stop yourself. You need to get you a constitution and you need to read it. Because all that red flag laws are is backdoor roundabout way of robbing you of due process. So we have two red flag laws here in Colorado. One was just passed again this year. One was passed in 2021, and they're called extreme risk protection orders. And what that does here in the state of Colorado, it initially was for uh, police officers and family members, or I think it was spouse, to be able to alert authorities that somebody was either a danger to someone or to someone themselves, and the system could come into your home, take the guns and ammo from you. Now you have a court case and you have to prove to law enforcement and or the justice system that you are stable enough to own your firearms and your ammunition. Now, this is why these are so scary, is because there is no foundation of what your sanity was to compare to beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have a justice system that is designed to make clients of their people and criminals of their people, to get the government in your home, to get you paying them, because courts cost money. Court costs are expensive. Litigation is expensive. Once you are in the system, you are now their bitch. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Okay. So now the government is in your home dictating to you how you need to conduct yourself. And you just got robbed of your due process and your right to a defense in court. So if you think that red flag laws are going to help anybody, look at the state of Colorado. We've had red flag laws for quite some time. All of those red flag laws did not stop Club Q from happening, because that was a case indeed that red flag laws could have been exercised and law enforcement didn't do anything.
Isn't it
People around that
super
person didn't
common?
do
It is so common. In fact, it's a meme, which is unfortunate when bloodshed and carnage comes with a meme, but it's a meme that guy goes in and shoots up the place, airs the spot out. The FBI, yes, we were aware of this person.
he was on the list. It's
Oh,
so
he was
ridiculous.
on the list.
It's ridiculous
Oh,
to me.
I thought you had all the power and all the ability given to you by us, pretty much, to exercise whatever you needed to do. Oh, you want to go take his guns? Oh, you want to bring him in? Oh, there's even extreme protective orders where you can go in and admit somebody to an insane asylum if you feel like they're unwell. Those already
So
exist and they've been around a long time.
we just got a new red flag, ERPO, that was extended, that now it is extended to teachers and educational professionals,
Oh,
doctors. So and now they just tried to pass a law that allows these teachers to question your children about if there's firearms in the home. So now you have these liberal teachers that are telling your children that little boys should be little girls and vice versa, that are planting these ideologies of communism, socialism in their minds. And now they're teaching children that these tools of protection and these tools of liberty are tools to be feared, are tools to commit acts of violence, and those attached to these tools mean to do harm and deserve to be robbed of their civil liberties, due
hmm,
process robbed from them, be forced into litigation, be forced into government and fighting for their liberties, be based on irrational fears. These are dangerous laws, people.
mm, mm,
These are
mm.
very dangerous. So who's to say, let's talk about this here. Who's to
Yeah.
say, okay, I'm Big Booty Judy over here. Okay. I'm over here. I just went out the other night. I met this man. We were talking about finance all night long in a professional aspect, in a social setting, talking about finance. He does all these things with finance. He has his own company. I say, okay, here's my business card. I'd like to talk about how you can provide me a service and better service me as a consumer to help me, work on my finances as a professional individual. Now, said individual texts me and tells me he's interested in me. He wants to go out on a date. He has more than professional intentions for me. And I say, okay, let's go on a date. We go on a date. The guy is a creep. I don't like him. He's very liberal. I tell him what I do for a living. He knows I have guns. I reject him. Now his ego is bruised. Now, because we went on a date, he can red flag me and say that I am a threat to society, that I have plans to commit heinous acts against my community. And because he and I went on a date, now he has authority to
Mm.
report me and to be taken seriously in the justice system because he went on a date with me and my political perspectives don't align with his. So now someone can come and rob me of my rights to defend myself and to protect my family.
Yeah.
That's
That's
sickening.
that's wild that that's possible. And here's the thing. I
And
know
people
that
are
there
advocating
are
for it. That's what's even worse.
I've generally felt like there's a lot of people who are simply uneducated or misguided or very passionate and they just don't have all the information. And because they kind of like locked into a crew, locked into like their friend group, like their opinions can't change without losing everything. And
Echo chambers,
so, huh?
echo chambers exist, and that
They
is why
do.
it's so important. And that's why it's so important for gun owners to represent the fact that they are proud, responsible gun owners. You cannot let these people bully you
Hmm.
into being afraid to express yourself.
Yeah.
That's the whole problem right now. Is if you are not expressing yourself and you are not having conversations about this, you are not opening the doors to education, because education is the answer. That's
Yeah.
why I do this, is because, and that's why you have the show, right? That's why we
Yes.
have these conversations, is to bring awareness and education to such topics so people understand the validity and the depth to them.
Yeah. And I really, really hope that as, because every once in a while somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I've listened to the show." I'm like, "You don't even own a gun." And it's like that's a
Good.
great thing. And I hope that as the new gun owners or the prospective gun owners are listening, I hope that we can really share this with you and that you kind of take it to heart and you understand like, hey, like as weird as it is to like first talk about anything that's maybe a little bit taboo in society, but oftentimes those conversations are
I said,
important. Yeah, like we haven't been having them, and so many people have been harmed or abused because we've been scared to talk about it, right? It's like they're scared to talk about sex in church, and guess what? Guess
people are
what? Right, and in the worst ways, like, oh, there's all sorts of abuse here. Husbands are doing this to their wives, and it's just a bunch of terrible stuff, right? And so, like, we got to talk about it. We have to be um, willing and ready to have these conversations, even as people who maybe you don't even own a gun, but you do have a belief that we should be able to own guns and be armed, and maybe you're not prepared to have a serious conversation, but let it be known, like, hey, I'm for firearms. I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna lose my mind if I find out somebody's carrying, because there are people who are like that. There are people who are like
But
that.
this is the thing, though. If there's people out there in YouTube land and you have not bought your first gun yet, but you're thinking about buying your first gun, contact an instructor first and vet your
Mm,
instructor. If you don't know how to do that, hi, here I am. My name is Alicia. Reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you and guide you. I have a network of women and female and male instructors across the nation that I could refer you to. But don't just go out and buy a gun. Educate yourself and understand the process and why this is important. That way you can make an educated purchase that's going to be of your best effort and worth your time and money. Because it's not, this isn't, something you go out and it's like, a happy meal. You buy it, oh, it's
right.
not for me, I'm gonna try something else. No, this is this is a tool of liberty.
Hmm.
And it's very essential that you understand how it works, the responsibility that's attached to it, and your duty as a responsible gun owner.
Hmm.
So have those
Absolutely.
conversations. Reach out to people that can guide you.
I DJ Play Nice, the moderator, went ahead and posted your Instagram handle in the live comment section. I went ahead and posted it onto the visual stream for those who are watching on Spotify or YouTube. And of
I can't see
course,
the chat. I can't see any of that stuff. So I'm
you
sorry,
know
guys.
it's right there on the screen, right towards the top. It's maybe it's a little bit little, you can't see it,
I'm
but
afraid to touch my screen because I don't want to mess it up.
well, don't do it. Don't do it. Triggerology, what up, dude?
Okay, there it is.
Welcome to what we're doing here. I love your work on Twitter X.
Triggerology is the homie.
Right. Absolutely.
I hope you're going to SHOT Show so I can meet you.
Triggerology.
Yes.
Yes, go to SHOT Show, dude. I'm not going this year, but you should go.
I'm
He said, cutesy, timid, shy gun talk is over. It's over. It's been dead. It needed to die a long time ago. I went ahead and purchased a hatchet so we could bury its body out back. Corny jokes for the win.
yes.
And, ooh, here's a good question. Thank you for firing it in. How would you recommend we spend our next 5 days, $5, or 5 years, and 5 years, excuse me, to support gun rights and firearms instructors, or, sorry, to support gun rights and firearms normalization? So 5 days,
Okay,
$5,
great.
5 years.
So in the next 5 days, do yourself a favor. You can go to my link tree. You could use my affiliates, get yourself all the tools that you need to be a responsible gun owner. That means, do you have a tourniquet? Do you have an IFAC? Do you have things of that nature that you are going to need to save somebody's life? Everybody wants to, be cool and tote gats, but do you know how to save somebody's life? Because you're going to need an emergency medical kit in your vehicle and in your home. So responsible gun owners are prepared in all ways, not just with guns. So get yourself a tourniquet, sign up for a Stop the Bleed class wherever you are. Look up instructors that you can find, take a Stop the Bleed class and get that in the next year. That's what I would do. $5, donate to Rocky Mountain gun owners, man. Please do that. Fighting this gun control on a state level is very, very important. And every dollar counts. Every cent matters. So yes. And for the next 5 years, train, get involved on a state level in your litigation and the laws that are being developed. Get to know who your representatives are. Who are your senators? Who are your representatives? Who are the people that are using their platform for or against you? And get in their ass. Let them know who you are. Make sure you are hounding these people and you are letting them know what your perspectives are, what you want are, and that you will hold them accountable. Make sure that they know that if they don't do what you want them to do, that you will remove them from their position. And train. Enroll in classes. At least take 2 training courses a year. If you can't afford that, then you need to reevaluate what you're spending your money on. Because if you're not training on how to defend your family and yourself, your priorities are all wrong. Cancel Netflix, bro.
I definitely agree. People need to train. Um, Now, people will argue on the frequency and how much you should spend, but I would say that there's a lot of really good courses that aren't um, prohibitively expensive that will teach you beyond the fundamentals. Because the fundamentals, according to some people, is just like knowing the law and knowing how to pull the trigger. It's not gonna cut it. It's
No.
not gonna cut it at all. I would say if you want to see some additional gun footage that um, I've gone out and the training that I do, it's not stupid impressive, but it's something, and I think people should maybe try to do some of that. It's on Locals. You can watch it for free. armedatlas.locals.com. DJ Play Nice was kind enough to post into the live chat the link for RockyMountainGunOwners.org, rmgo.org. If you guys want to go donate to that cause in the lawsuit that you guys are bringing, um, I would say if you got $5, throw it.
If
Obviously, the
if
more the
you go,
better.
if you go to my link tree in all of my bios, I'm on Twitter or X at Boomstick Babe. My link tree's in there. You can go to my Instagram at the Boomstick Babe on there. You could go to my website. There is a link that if you go to on there for Rocky Mountain Gunners, that money goes directly to my lawsuit,
To the lawsuit,
directly
yeah.
to my lawsuit against the state of Colorado. He also asked what he can do to normalize gun culture again, and you guys aren't going to like this, but you need to start having conversations with people that aren't like you.
Ooh.
You need to start wearing shirts that say you shoot guns. You need to start talking to people about difficult things and having conversations, not arguments, but conversations. And you need to be willing to listen to the opposition, and you need to lead by example and demonstrate what it means to be a responsible gun owner. Because they're thinking that we are going to be these irrational, violent people, that we have these tools because we intend to commit harm. And they need to understand that we have these tools because, one, it's our natural right as humans, it's our civil right as Americans, and it is our duty as children of God to be protectors of innocence and of our own lives. And we are all made in that likeness. I want you to understand that. So if
Yeah.
you want to have true change, you need to start having ugly truths and having conversations with people that don't agree with you
I'm
and
I'm
get your
gonna
facts.
I'm gonna recommend people to do these two things. First, get offline. I'm not saying that you can't have good, intelligent conversations with people who are willing to talk, but oftentimes I've seen in comment sections and things like that, people are willing to write 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, a whole novel, telling you why you're the devil, why you have the blood of children on your hands. Apparently, I've murdered many babies. I didn't know I had that kill count. That's insane. So
Mhm.
get offline, have real conversations with people really in your life, or even people that you meet in public. Or I'm at Subway, and somehow I've ended up having a conversation with the guy in line because they ran out of meatballs, whatever, you know. And now we're talking about stuff. Talk about guns, you know. Talk
Yeah.
about guns. Um, and secondly, if you are going to get sucked into a conversation online in an Instagram comment section on X, don't be disrespectful. Hold your ground. Be assertive, but don't get sucked into
Name calling.
name calling, hurling mud, doing a lot of the cool kid two-way stuff that I've seen. And I get it. Some of it's fun, but like maybe you know, write one paragraph. Come in from the perspective that we're sharing this with them. It might not change their mind, but the next person who reads this is going to plant some seeds. That's my prescription. I don't know if you disagree or if you would do something differently, but
I am
often
very
I see people
about
get
being
sucked
a
in.
student. You
A
have
student.
to elevate your mode of conduct. You are setting the example to the world of what it means to be a gun owner. Step it up. Get your vocabulary on point. Make sure that you spell things properly. Make sure you conduct yourself with the highest level of integrity that you have, and then some. Because why? They're looking for every opportunity to tear you down or to make an example out of you or to support their crazy ideologies. Don't give them any reason,
Mm,
because you're representing an entire community of people. Do it with grace, do it with class, and do it with integrity. And a lot of these times we seem to forget that the opposition and us, we have a lot in common. We have more in common than you realize. They just want to be safe. They just want to feel safe. So do we. Our perspectives and our ideologies on how safe looks like is where we differentiate. And
wow.
I want them to understand, and I've said this many times, I love to talk to moms demand action. I love talking to them because they're full of fear.
Mhm.
And what I love to ask them is, okay, if we were in the grocery store and we were in, the same aisle, and I had my family and you had yours, and here comes a bad guy with a gun, and I murked that bad guy, and I risked my life to save you and your kids, would you still feel the same way about my gun? Would you still want to disarm me? Because I'm a
Mm,
protector. And I
right.
think we need to start pounding into these people's minds the true nature of what it means to be a gun owner. We're keepers of peace. We're not here looking for trouble. We're here to defend life. We're here to defend
Hmm.
innocence. We're here to stand for truth and justice and be good people. And if you're going to be argumentative and ignorant and play into their way, you become the loser immediately because you become baited and you lower yourself and your integrity to their level. Show
Wow.
them what it means to be a higher caliber of a human being and
I
have
love that.
dignity,
I love that.
because nobody can throw stones at you and nobody can bring you down is if you maintain that level of integrity. They will burn themselves into the ground with insults. Oh, I get insulted all the time. People tell me all the time, oh, you have all the, you know dead children's blood on your hands. And I'm like, really? I thought you did, because you're the one that disarmed all those people that they couldn't defend themselves.
Mm,
And that's the truth.
interesting.
So if you don't want to see children die, tell me why you would want somebody who is not like me in that position to defend those kids. Because any child in my presence, and tell them this, any child, any person in my presence, whether you are of my political astute or not, you are safe with me, because I don't play that game. I have to answer to the Lord, honey. That's who I answer to. And if I die because I was defending life and protecting the children and protecting the people, and you find me surrounded in brass with the bodies of my enemies around me, I did my job. And I'm more than happy to meet my maker and tell him that I protected life.
Wow. Chills. Okay. I love it. Alicia, thank you so much for sharing that. I 100% agree because people they don't know the levels of, and the painstaking details we paid attention to, and the amount of time we put into training to become the most efficient and effective uh, practitioners of firearm skills and the ability to defend life. The hours and hours and days and dollars spent to make sure that you are deadly accurate, and of course taking care of yourself, whether it be up here or in here, to make sure that you are sound and ready to go to work to save somebody's life. And not even just from, active shooter with an AR-15. It could be anything and everything, you know. And I'm glad that you were able to explain yourself so well, and I definitely appreciate that. Alicia, can you just one more time let people know where to find you? I do see that we posted the link tree, but if you just share one more time with the people.
Sure. My name is Alicia Garcia. You can go to my website, boomstickbabe.com. You can go to Twitter or X at Boomstick Babe. I'm on there. I post a lot of great deals, gun deals, purchases, lots of, I have a lot of things to say on there. If you come on to Twitter and X and follow me, you'll be sure to see the Alicia show in full flavor. You can go to Instagram. I'm at the Boomstick Babe on there. I'm kind of shadow banned on there, so you have to type it in exactly as it is at the Boomstick Babe. You can find me, I believe, on TikTok. I'm heavily shadow banned on there. Anything where Boomstick Babe is, that is me. Hi.
All right. So let's go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much. And I'm glad we got a chance to have this conversation. Finally, after so long. My bad. My fault. All right, let's make this thing happen. Let's sign off. All right, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Costly Conversations podcast. My name is Aaron. You probably know me as Armed Atlas. There's a QR code in the corner that actually takes you to the Armed Atlas YouTube channel. If you're interested in my firearms content, we're making a little bit of a comeback. We're going to bring some more in there. If you're on YouTube, make sure to check out the live chat, because our moderators have posted a whole ton of links in here just to make sure that you have access to everything here. But also, we're going to post the links in other places as well. If you're interested in additional bonus episodes, or I'm just chilling on the couch behind me having conversations with some of the most recent guests, maybe some people who haven't been on the show that maybe it doesn't quite make sense for us to have like a full, hour and a half, 2 hour conversation via the podcast side. But I just want to sit back and like just chit chat about like everyday stuff. I'm doing a new thing called Kickback. Part of it's been on the locals feed, so make sure you're signed up there, armedatlas.locals.com. But usually we try to stream it here, at least at first. And if you want to catch that, make sure you catch it live. We've been doing it on Thursdays at about like 7:30 Central Standard Time. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Appreciate everyone who's been here live. I see so many of you in the live feed. And of course, if you're on the podcast side, I definitely appreciate you. Make sure you join our Discord. It's completely free to join. There is no strings attached, but if you're a gun owner thinking about it, you have questions, we have a ton of instructors just chilling in there, competition shooters, USPSA, like master level guys. They're just hanging out in a live chat. If you want punch a question in. It's like better than AI because it'll actually give you real answers from real people who have done the thing. So let's make sure we do that. Until then, keep it costly.